So what's good, y'all boys? What good, y'all boys? We back with another video. In this video, one thing I will say before we actually start this video is, I'm sure you guys already know, bro. I'm not a fucking guru. I'm not none of that shit, bro. I'm just keeping it a real, keeping it a buck with all y'all. That's why, as you guys can see, bro, I'm literally holding my phone while recording this video. MacBook right there. I was just brain rotting. But yeah, so in this video, we're actually gonna be talking about basically all the products, the product criteria list that I actually follow. In my product criteria list, I actually find 10K plus a month product every single month, 20K month products, and 30K month products, right? Because there's different types of winning products, or there's certain products that can't do as big numbers as others. But in general, just like being able to make consistent 10 to 30K every single month, my product criteria list to kind of go over that. I know I look tired as shit, bro. But yeah, so that's pretty much what today's video is gonna be. Like I said, it's just me going over everything. I'm just gonna keep it super authentic, organic. I'm not gonna do no fancy setup. I'm really gonna hold my phone. So pull your notepad. Can't talk. Pull your notepad out. All right, and take some notes, bro. Cause this my biggest thing is just giving you guys free value for you guys to be able to make your first 10K month with organic dropshipping, bro. That's my biggest thing, bro. So please, I'm asking you. Well, I'm not asking you, bro. If you want to make money, you're gonna do it anyways. Take some notes, really take and listen to what I have to say for this video. If you don't know who I am, bro, I've been making consistent 10 to 30K months with organic dropshipping now for a minute. I've done over 150 to 200K revenue with organic dropshipping now. If you want to look at my results, bro, I either show some screenshots on the fucking YouTube video, or I'll go and you go to my Instagram, you'll see my whole, you go to my Instagram, or you can scroll down on my YouTube, you'll see my journey from hitting my first 10K, 20K month, or 25K month. Literally tell me, I have a video of my whole story. You can go to my Instagram, see my results and some of my student results as well. So yeah, but all right, bet, let's just get straight into it. So with the product criteria, it's pretty simple, right? Passionate audience, wow factor, and it has to have a really good use case / value. Okay, obviously the main thing that everybody else talks about, but for me, I kind of look at it a little different, right? I've noticed some patterns that actually always shows into winning products, right? So first thing is obviously passionate audience, right? The audience needs to be passionate. This is how I know if the audience is passionate or not, because people say passionate audience, but you never can really dictate how passionate the audience is, right? Because it's very important how passionate the audience is, because it will dictate how much it converts, right? The more passionate the audience, the more it will convert per mil based on the use case as value, which we'll talk about later. But in general, passionate audience. This is how you know if the audience is passionate. If you go and you look up the audience, right? If you look up the audience on TikTok, right? You look it up and you go on TikTok, you look up the audience and then you scroll down and you press on a video, right? Let's say that video did 1 million views. If that video did 1 million views and they have 200,000 likes, that's a passionate audience. It's basically audiences that have insanely high like ratio. That is how you know if a video, if something's in a passionate audience. If you scroll on dropshipping products, bro, and you see a product that has super crazy high like ratio, that most likely means it's in a passionate audience or a super good passionate audience. For instance, when I ran Billie Eilish blankets, right, I would literally do 10K views and get 3,000 likes. Or I would do 100K views and I would get 10K likes. That's what I mean by passionate audience, bro. They'll literally just like the fucking video just because it has something to do with the audience. Where typically the audiences that do really well for this is artists specifically like Billie Eilish, Travis Scott, Taylor Swift, etc., etc. People like that, that super passionate fandoms, or Christianity. Those are super passionate audiences, but you can see that in the TikTok, because people always talk about passionate audience, but they don't ever tell you how you can dictate how passionate the audience is. Bro, you can literally dictate it by the like ratio. Depending on how high the like ratio is in the videos will tell you how much, how passionate the audience actually is. Oh, man. So next thing is wow factor, right? And I'm sure a lot of you guys know about wow factor, bro. Wow factor is literally just something that they haven't seen before, something that you can't get in stores, and something that you haven't seen before. For instance, a great example, Billie Eilish shoes. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen that, or the Taylor Swift Converse. Those are 3K per mil. Those have high wow factors because there's something that you can't get in stores and something that you've never seen before. That's why it's a high wow factor. Billie Eilish custom-made shoes, the reason why it's such a high wow factor, again, something that you can't get in stores, you can't get at Finish Line, and something that you've never seen before. They're custom-made. So because of that fact, It has a crazy wow factor. Just showing off the product goes viral, bro. Especially, and also, wow factor also matters based on the audience, bro. That's actually super important. So, like, the audience it has to be like a wow factor for the audience, if that makes sense. Like, again, Billie Eilish blankets, or Billie Eilish custom shoes. The wow factor is the audience itself. The audience, like the Billie Eilish audience, the niche. The reason why is because, again, the niche would really want something like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's something that the niche itself has never seen before. So because of that fact, that's what makes it go crazy. And then you literally could just show that product off and boom, viral. That's just how it is, bro. So yeah. And then use case / value. The reason why I say use case is because it typically depends on the use case, like how often they can use the product. There's different types of value, though. You need to understand there's different types of value to people's lives, okay? You need to learn to, like, it kind of comes with time in the game, but you need to learn to dictate the use case / value for each product. For instance, right? So Billie Eilish shoes or Taylor Swift shoes, I know I keep coming back to this, but it's just the easiest thing to reference. Billie Eilish shoes, okay? With Billie Eilish shoes, one of the biggest things is the reason why it's a 5K plus per mil product is because the use case, okay? The use case, it's a pair of shoes. What are shoes? Shoes are something that you wear on a day-to-day basis. You wear shoes every single day. So now they have something that is high perceived value, okay? It is high perceived value, meaning that it can be sold for more than $40 to $50. And on top of that fact, the shoe itself has a high use case. It's something that you can use every single day. Shoes are something that you can wear on a day-to-day basis. Now you market them as custom made and put them in a passionate audience. The use case, again, is something that has a high perceived value. You could sell it for over $50 because typically for me, I don't like running products that I can't sell for like $30 to $40 or more because it has that high perceived value mark on it. But like I said, it's something that they can wear on a day-to-day basis. They can literally throw that shoe on, and not only does it represent them as a fandom, it's something that they will literally use every single day. So because of that fact, it has a high perceived value, high use case. It converts 5K per mil. You mix passionate audience with high use case or high value, it will convert insanely high, bro. That's why the mugs, the custom Lord of the Rings mugs, right? The wow factor on me personally, the wow factor on the custom, all the mugs weren't crazy, but they had decent wow factor, but nothing crazy. What made the product go viral was the marketing. It was the marketing as handmade, right? I'm sure you guys have all seen the Lord of the Rings mugs. I'll put it on the screen, a video, if you guys like haven't seen it or whatever. But yeah, like I said, the mugs. So like the mugs didn't have a crazy wow factor, but the reason why they convert crazy is because it's in a super passionate niche. Lord of the Rings, right? Super passionate in the use case of a mug. What is a mug? A mug is something that you can use every single day to drink out of, okay? People drink cups all the time, bro. People use mugs, so it's a coffee mug or whatever it is. So not only is it super giftable, right? That Lord of the Rings mug is super giftable. It has high perceived value because you're marketing it as handmade. And then 3, on top of that, it's something that they can actually use. It brings value. It's something that they can use to drink stuff out of, okay? Which a lot of people, especially dads, love mugs, bro. And that niche is like full of like older people, bro. So that's my point. The reason why the Lord of the Rings mugs convert 5 to 10K per mil is obviously the marketing, which is the handmade marketing. But it was also the passionate audience mixed in with the use case. For instance, a bracelet. Lord of the Rings bracelet only converts like if you do a Lord of the Rings bracelet, it's gonna be like 1.5K per mil. The reason being the perceived value / use case. A bracelet is something that it doesn't really have like a high perceived value. It's just a bracelet. It doesn't really bring any value. It's not something that they can use like a mug or a shoe. So because of that fact, it only converts like 1.5K per mil. Yeah. So yeah, that's like my basic product criteria. My bad, I can't talk. I'm extremely tired, bro. I'm sure you guys can see. But that's like my product criteria list. Now, when it comes to like after checking off my product criteria list, the next thing I do is I actually go and I look for these 3 things, 2 to 3 things. First things first is the comments, bro. You need to look at the comments, okay? Depending on how many comments they have is also depending on how much it converts. So, for instance, if you do 100K views and only 10 comments, that shit don't convert. I'm not gonna lie. That shit most of the time does not convert, bro. I'm not gonna lie. You can judge how much a product converts based on how many comments they're getting, bro. So if a product does 100K views and it only gets 10 to 5 comments, that shit don't convert. You typically want, for 100K views, bro, like I would say like 50 to 100 comments. That's like good. 50 to 100 comments, really 70 to 100, but 50 to 100 comments. So if they do 100K views and they're getting less than 50 comments, that's a bad sign. Second is you need to make sure you're looking at what the comments are actually saying. There's a difference between good engagement and demand for the product, okay? That's super important. They can have 100K views, 100 comments, but if nobody's asking where to buy the product, it doesn't convert. That's where a lot of people trip off as. You need to make sure you're actually like knowing the difference between demand and engagement, okay? If you get 100K views, and for instance, if you do an emotional concept, right? If someone did emotional concept and they do 100K views and they only do 100 comments, right? And all those comments are just saying, oh, it's beautiful. Oh, don't worry. We love it. This and a third. That shit don't convert. But if they're saying, oh, it's great. And where can I buy? Then that means it converts. That's super, super important, bro. You need to make sure that the comments, the engagement is actually there. Like, it actually has good demand, bro. Stops, bro. It's so simple, but like y'all niggas just fucking complicated, bro. It's not that complicated. Like I said, you look at a product, you check it off, passion, audience, wow factor, use case, right? Then you look at it, okay, I bet the product did 100K views or did 50K views, 50 to 100 comments. Okay, I bet. You looked at the comments, there are people actually saying like, oh, well, let me get the link. Where can I buy? Where can I buy? Where can I buy? That shit converts high. Okay? But yeah, like I was saying, passion, audience, wow factor, use case, check all those things off. Now you look at it, okay, they get 50K views and they got 50 comments, and all 50 comments that everybody's asking where to buy, that shit converts. Now, here's something that actually means a lot too. Next thing you need to look for. After you see the comments are asking where to buy, this is another quick distinction that will tell you if the product actually converts high. And this is where a lot of people look over. For instance, the heated blanket, it was getting a good demand, but the reason why it didn't convert is the perceived value to the selling price, okay? This is something that a lot of people don't take in consideration when they're actually looking at their products, okay? When you see a product and it's getting good demand, it checks off all the boxes, everything, go look at how much you could source it for or how much they're selling it for. If they're selling a product way higher than the perceived value of the product, it don't convert. For instance, if I have this hat right here, right? Let's say I'm marketing this hat, right? It has hella good demand and everything. But then you go on the website and I'm selling this shit for $80, it don't convert. Bro, a hat is clearly not worth $80, bro. So because of that fact, nigga, if it's not worth $80, bro, it doesn't convert. It doesn't matter how good the engagement is. If the perceived value of the product does not match the selling price, it's not going to convert. It's that simple, bro. It's simple. So you need to make sure you understand what the perceived value of the product is. You need to make sure do a little bit of research. Go look on Google, see how much people shit is actually worth. How much people are buying that other product similar to it. You know what I mean? And then from there, you can kind of see the perceived value of a product. Okay. And once you gauge the perceived value of a product, it will allow you to basically go and look at the seller and be like, okay, nah, like they're selling this for way too much. Or if you look at a product, right, and you see that they're running the product, and then you look at their account, and then you come back like a day or two later, and they drop their pricing, they're not converting. If they drop the pricing exponentially, which is super important. So like if they're selling for 160 and drop it to 100, it didn't convert at 160, obviously. So yeah, that's something that you definitely need to look out for is perceived value of a product, bro. The perceived value of a product, like I said. So after you check out passionate audience, wow factor, use case, and then after that you look at the comments, everything's looking good with the comments. Everybody's asking where to buy. They did 100K views and 50 to 100 comments. Everybody's asking where to buy. They're not just saying, oh, it's great. They're actually asking where to buy. And then you look at the seller, the perceived value of the product actually matches, because people were so surprised when you guys know the little ball, like the little electronic ball that shows shit. Like the Christmas ball, remember when they did the Christmas ball, where they did the little ornament and it was like a crystal ball, but it played the the baby shit, like the memories. I'll put a screenshot up here if I have one. That shit was 1K per mil, bro. Reason being, because the fucking perceived value was not the same as the selling price. They were selling that shit for $90. Bro, it was just a fucking ornament, and they were selling it for $90. Of course it doesn't convert, bro. It had good value. It had checked off all the boxes, a good engagement, everything. But because the perceived value was not the same as the product, it didn't convert, bro. So that's something that you guys definitely need to take in consideration. Now, the last thing I look at before I actually go and test a product is the market share. First things first, before I run a product, I always check and see how many people are running the product before I actually order it, bro. Like, you need to check and see how many people are running the product. And also, if you know it's a banger, you know everybody's going to hop on it. So, when you see the product, right, first thing, go and look up the product on TikTok, right? Look up the product on TikTok, and it'll show you a list of all the accounts running the product, right? So, once you look up, like, say if I looked up, like, blue New York hat, and as long as it shouldn't be a product that's common, so that's why it pops up. But look up like blue New York Nike hat or blue New York hat. That basically is like, you're gonna go on TikTok and a whole list of accounts are gonna pop up. Anybody who's running the product, you'll see if there's more than 2 people to 3 people. I would say 3 people. If there's more than 3 people running the product, I personally wouldn't run it. But here's the key. Here's the key. So if there's more than 3 people running the product, right? I'm not copying the competitor one for one, but you could still go crazy viral. But the chance of you going crazy viral with the product, copying one for one, or even though it's already been done, is way, like, it's not as likely, bro. So for me personally, after I see how many competitors on it, if there's only one person on it, I'll order the product. I'll copy the competitor one for one. If there's 2 people or more on it, 2 to 3 people or more on it, what I'll do is this, and this is just me. First of all, obviously it depends on the product, right? But after there's more than 2, 3 people on it, well, I'll go and I'll basically start analyzing. Okay, look at all the accounts. If they're all doing the same exact thing, you need to ask yourself these 4 things. Is there a new angle I can take with the product to actually go and bring this product to a new angle, and I'll be the first person on this new angle? What you can do is ChatGPT. Literally just ask ChatGPT, what are some passionate audiences or passionate niches for this product or what are some passionate audiences or passionate niches that would also want whatever product it is that they're selling? After that, new angle, you could do new concept. So let's think about this. If everybody's doing the same concept, let's say that everybody's doing the 3, 2, 1 concept, right? And you can go and do an emotional concept with that product, that will make you blow up. If you go and be the first person on emotional concepts with a product, you'll blow up, like, immediately, bro. Almost every single time for me personally, it's always worked. Just go and bring emotional. Or you could do run to IKEA. If nobody's done run to IKEA with the product, you could be the first person to do run to IKEA. The goal is to just go viral and get the primed accounts to solidify yourself as a competitor in whatever new thing that you did. So, for instance, an example on the new concept is the Fourth Wing Book Nooks, right? That shit was brought back like about a month ago. People ran that and brought that back. The only reason it was being able to be brought back is because people were just slapping on emotional with it. So now it's a new ad format. Because they did a new ad format, new concept that nobody has ever done before, they were able to bring that product back to the market. And that's what I mean. You can go and do a new viral ad formats that nobody has done and go viral with the product. So new angle, right? Can you do a new angle with the product? Can you do new viral ad formats? Can you take it to a new platform? For instance, if you go on everybody's accounts and you go and look and nobody's posting on YouTube, Facebook, possibly Instagram, which is highly unlikely, but mainly YouTube and Facebook, you can go just take it, post the product on YouTube and Facebook, and you'll print money because you'll be the first to that platform. So you can either ask yourself that, or you can ask yourself new country, which is more advanced, but a lot of people slack on it, is taking a product and taking it to a new country. But if you take it to a new country, you'll be the first in that country. Make sure the product makes sense for that country, though. That's super important. Don't just bring a product to any country, bro. Like, make sure it makes sense that whatever it is, audience that you're selling to, is actually passionate and in that country for whatever you're selling it. You're selling to in that country. But yeah, you ask yourself these 4 things. Is there a new angle you could take, a new concept, a new country, or a new platform, right? That's what I ask myself. So if there's more than 3 competitors running the product, then I'll ask myself these 4 things. And if I can find one thing out of those 4 things to do, then I'll run the product. If not, I'm not going to run the product. I'll let it go because I just don't see like any market share for me to actually go in and print hella money. So yeah, just to do a little recap, passionate audience wow factor use case. I went over that. Go back if you want to see. Then you go into looking at the comments. You want to go look at the comments. If they do 100K views and they're getting 50 to 100 comments, it's a good sign. Then you're going to go look at the demand. If they're getting 50 to 100K views and everybody's asking where to buy, it's a great sign. If they're not, and they're just saying like, oh, it's a good product, or they're talking about everything other than actually asking where to buy, it's not a good sign. Then going and you go on their website and they're selling the product for the actual good perceived value, that's a great sign. That means the product converts, everything's checked off. Again, then the last thing to check is the competitors, how many people are running it. If there's only one person running it, great sign, or the product, you're printing money. If there's 3 people on it, ask yourself, is there a new angle I could take, new concept, new platform, new country? You could ask yourself these 4 things, and if you could find one thing to do it, then order it, you're going to print money. If not, then you're cooked. That's my product criteria list. That's how I kind of basically go and like filter out what products to run and what products not to run. So I really hope this video helped you guys, bro. I'm fucking tired of this shit, bro. I hope I didn't look dumb as shit while talking. I don't give a fuck though, bro. The whole point is just giving you guys value, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, like I said, this whole goal is just to give you guys as much value as possible so you guys are able to actually make your first 10K month with organic dropshipping, bro. Honestly, I'm not a guru. I'm not one of those guys who make all their money off mentorships. Like, no. As you guys can see, I'm literally holding my camera in my room, but I wanted to make a YouTube video and give you guys some free sauce, some free games. So yeah, if you guys do want to work with me one-on-one personally, you can go on my Instagram account. You could go on my Instagram. It'll be in the link in the description, and you could DM me the word organic, and we can see what we can do and actually work together. If not, I don't really care, bro. You guys got the free value as well, so it doesn't really matter. But like I said, I do have a one-on-one as well. If you guys do want to work with me one-on-one, like I said, there'll be a link in the description to my Instagram. You guys can go DM me the word organic. If not, I mean, it's fine, bro. Like I said, I don't need your money. So yeah, it was good. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I'm fried, bro. I'm cooked. So, all right, but it was good. This video. I really hope this video, guys. Can't talk. I really hope this video helped you guys out. Stay tuned for the next one. More coming soon, and more case studies coming soon as well. So, yeah.